one of your passions is identity, our Caribbean identity, how we define it, and what it is. Do you think that we closer to an identity or further away from identity than we were back in the 80s, 90s?
That's a tough one.
Considering all those battleships that have come in?
I can't assess how much closer we are to Caribbean identity. I know we have a lot more tools, a lot more soldiers, a lot more young people who are more aware of and conscious of their identity and who they are, a lot more educated socially, a lot more exposed people. So I think we have a better chance if we have a good product. But we don't really have a good product, or we haven't identified our product that is called identity. Or we haven't defined, like, we haven't put on the wrapping to say, this is it. I present you with, you know, this is Caribbean identity. This is yours. And before you present something, you know, I think we haven't reached to that final phase yet. So they're seeing other things presented, but our Caribbean identity isn't presented properly to them. And I don't think young people are anymore, because they're so exposed, they're not anymore taking less than, you know, properly presented stuff.
Caribbean identity, do you think that it still matters? Because the world at large is saying that we're globalizing, so why do I need to keep that? I'm a citizen of the earth, which is a bigger idea for me to have to deal with. Me as a young person, why should I keep this?
If you had a whole bunch of fantastic ingredients, right, that were really defined and really exotic and interesting, and you throw them in a blender, right, and you blend them together, you think you would enjoy that as much as you would enjoy each individual taste and identity? I don't believe in the melting pot of the world that, you know, that is spoken about. I believe in the salad bowl of the world. I believe in each person and each culture holding dear to their flavor and their bursting, you know, traditions and stuff, and having something to bring to the table. And when they bring it to the table and put it together, it makes a fantastic looking salad. It's bright green and bright red and, you know, oranges and, you know, and that makes sense to me. You know, I really don't think that this whole world of cultural mixing is good. You know, most parts of the world, they would consider even somebody who was not pure African or not pure Indian or not pure, you know, a potong.
But isn't that what we have mastered in Trinidad? That real melting pot, because you go to other countries and they're a bunch of people, but when they leave, they go off to the Indian people over here and some even Pakistani here and some white people here, but they all bouncing up in tongue. But haven't we mastered that removal of the individual colors and made it into kind of an experiment that the world is a hard act to follow, because everybody here is sleeping and making sure with everybody else?
Yeah, I agree with you. I agree with you wholeheartedly. We have mastered that. But I believe the reason we have mastered it is because we have the extremes. If we lose the extremes, we will not understand how to have a blending. So you must have priests to have religious people. You must have a Buddhist monk to have Buddhist. You must have the extreme person. You must have the Rastafarian who doesn't eat no meat, he doesn't drink no salt, he doesn't have no... And once they leave, you find the whole movement starts to dwindle. Once you don't have that iconic presence of the extreme and pure, you can't have something that could come to the table to mix, because it is already watered down. You understand what I'm saying? We are nice
Diane
mixing.
was here.
I don't even know what race I am, because my mom is Indian, my dad is Chinese, and I don't feel like either of the two. So I just feel like a person.
She's half Indian, half Chinese. I am here. I grew up in a house where I was half Monstrasian, half Tobagonian, and my sister is half Monstrasian and half Portuguese, and we grew up in one. Is that a watering down?
No, my grandfather's name is Chandradat.
You see?
You know, so I mean, I think for me, architecture that we should be looking at in Trinidad should be called Douglas. You know, who's working on the Douglas ethic of architecture or building and design? That's what I want to know. But again, in order to create Douglas, you must have Indian and you must have African.
Right.
If you don't have that, then you can't have this. I don't know if you know, and you must. You can't have soca without calypso because soca is a blending of calypso and, you know. So if you don't have calypso no more and it's all about soca, then what you have to mix, what strong flavor do you have to mix into the pot to create something with soul? When soul coming so heavy from jazz and all that, they have that kind of identity based in Louisiana or wherever that shit come from. And what do you have? What is your pure side? What's your essence that you're going to add to that with 2 drops to make it happen? You're going to have some watered down stuff.
Bro,
so for me, you know, I mean, that's my point of view.
The Douglas purity. A pure Douglas.